Why is Jeong from Avatar The Last Airbender the most underrated character? I think to fully appreciate a character, you have to understand them on some level, like power level, backstory, or philosophies. And because we only see him two times in the show, I don't think a lot of people understand the lesson he was teaching Aang. So let's get into it. We'll start off with backstory, then his philosophy, and last to keep it interesting, his power level. The Deserter. Jeong's backstory gets told to us in the episode The Deserter when we first meet him. Jeong was a high-ranking admiral in the Fire Nation Navy. Not just a soldier, but an admiral. That means he wasn't just powerful, he was also trusted and respected. We can only assume he was in many battles, just like Iroh. So why did he desert from the Fire Nation? In the Fire Nation, that's not just betrayal, that's treason. In the episode, Jeong makes it clear that he left because he understood fire too well. He understood the cost that it took to wield fire. He saw what it did, he saw what it cost, and he realized that the Fire Nation wasn't using fire as a source of life. They were using it as a weapon of domination. That's why he joined the White Lotus, which we later find out when the Fire Nation attacks Ba Sing Se. The White Lotus is a secret organization devoted to balance, wisdom, and spreading the knowledge of the Four Nations. He didn't just abandon his country, he abandoned its ideologies and developed his own. And that already separates him from characters like Zhao. Jeong walked away from power. Admiral Zhao chased it. That contrast, I think, in my opinion, was made intentionally.
But it's the Avatar's duty to master all of the bending disciplines.
To master the bending disciplines, you must first master discipline itself. But you have no interest in this, so I have no interest in you. Now, get out. Fire is alive. It breathes. It grows. Without the bender, a rock will not throw itself. But fire will spread and destroy everything in its path if one does not have the will to control it. That is its destiny. You are not ready. You are too weak. I will teach you.
Really? That's great!
Philosophy. Now let's talk about what really makes him underrated, his philosophy. When Aang first meets Jeong, he's excited. He wants to learn firebending immediately. It's flashy, it's powerful, and it's the last element he needs. But Jeong refuses. Why? Because fire is different from the other elements. Earth stands firm, water adapts, and air flows freely. But fire consumes. And Jeong understands something that Aang doesn't yet. Fire comes from emotion, from passion, from anger, from drive. If you don't control yourself, you can't control fire. That's why he drills Aang on breathing, on discipline, on restraint.
Power in firebending comes from the breath. That is why you must master proper breath control. No, power in firebending comes from the breath, not the muscles.
It wasn't just boring training, it was the entire lesson. And here's the deeper layer. Jeong represents fire without the ego. That's why he's so interesting when you compare him up against Zuko in the earlier series. Zuko uses fire to prove himself, while Jeong uses fire carefully, almost reluctantly. One burns to be seen, and the other burns with caution. And when Aang burns Katara by accident, that moment proves Jeong right. Aang wasn't ready, not because he lacked skill, but because he lacked discipline. Jeong wasn't trying to hold Aang back, he was trying to protect him. The irony in the situation is after that accident, Aang refuses to firebend for a long time.
You have healing abilities. The great benders of the water tribe sometimes have this ability. I've always wished I were blessed like you, free from this burning curse.
Now Aang shares this internal fear of firebending just like Jeong did. But because of the fact that Jeong was drilling into Aang discipline and control, later in the series, Aang gets to learn the true way to firebend with Zuko and the dragon, finally understanding Jeong's philosophy. Sometimes a teacher isn't meant to complete the lesson, they're meant to prepare you for it. And that's what Jeong was for Aang in his journey. Now, the real reason why I don't understand why Jeong gets slept on is power level. We only see Jeong fight a few times, but when he does, he casually creates massive walls of fire that stop an entire fleet of soldiers. And I'll remind you, this is without Sozin's Comet. And the cool thing is, he firebends like he's a waterbender, almost like waves of fire. And in the finale, when they take back Ba Sing Se, we see how his control is so precise, he can use fire to fly, almost like he's wearing a jetpack. And if I'm being honest, in the original Avatar The Last Airbender show, he's the only non-Avatar character to do this for a sustained amount of time, which is actually really impressive, even with the amp of Sozin's Comet. If anything, Jeong is up there with Ozai and Iroh, and it's not even a question. He's what happens when firebending is mastered through discipline instead of rage.
Flameo, Hotman!
To be honest, I think the real reason why he's underrated is just because he doesn't have a redemption arc like Zuko, and he doesn't have as much screen time as Iroh. Jeong and Iroh are both wise old firebending masters. But think about this. He was the first firebender in the series to openly say the Fire Nation was wrong. Before Zuko switched sides, before Azula fell, and before the war shifted. That's not weakness, that's awareness. He represents the idea that power without discipline is dangerous, even if your intentions are good. I hope you guys liked the video as much as I had fun making it. Remember to subscribe and stay peachy.